All right, guys. So here we are on gold. It is now Thursday morning, October 10th. The market opened about 12 minutes ago, and I want to take a look at this now. I think enough time has gone by, enough consolidation, right, and enough decent price action for us to justify looking at a long position here, which is what I have done, right? So we had a pretty strong hourly close here on the recent hour. Hopefully on this hour, 42 minutes into this candle, hopefully this candle can close above this resistance up here. As an alternative, if this seems a little bit risky, what we could do is wait for candle close above here and a pullback into this level before going long. But I'm fine with this. Good risk to reward ratio where we are now. And then we're targeting recent highs up here. And I think, like I said, I think enough time has gone by to really justify this because we've broken down a lot, right? We've pulled back a good bit after a massive move to the upside, and with especially with this candle here, like I said, like I always say, it's not the zone. Like this is sort of a minor zone that we had back here, but once we see price really respecting it a lot, like three very big times, right, where we could have broken down and we respected it as a support, and then this candle closes above this structure here. That is really a good sign, in my opinion, of the tides sort of shifting, right? So anyway, but we can always reassess this high once we get there. Um, but yeah, overall, I think this is going to be a really good move here. All right, so little update on the gold position. We just did an update on the pound position. So gold has been moving really nicely from where we got in. Let's just zoom in and look at this here. Let's lock that so I don't move that. Yeah, from where we got in here as this candle was coming down, it came down a little bit more, right? Nice big bullish close, pulled back a bit, and really this move right here is what established our push above this level here. And yeah, we just had a pretty bullish day. So like I said, if this would have been seen as too risky, then the alternative would have been to wait for a defined push above. Now we didn't really get that great of a retest really at all, but maybe could have looked for an entry somewhere within this pullback here. But I'm happy with where I got in because if I was waiting for a retest, I probably still would have not gotten into the position. So let's go to an hourly. Hourly looks great as well. You can see we just pulled back here at this level, but like I was saying before, it's not really this zone because this is a minor level, but it is now a key level because we've retested it multiple times, many times, and it's the price action in response to the level. And so, yeah, overall, we could. I've been looking at trend lines a little bit recently. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't usually use them in trading. I just kind of like to use them visually to give me a bit more of an idea, kind of the shape of everything and what's going on. So we have that there to look at. But what we're looking at going forward is I'm expecting the next couple hours to be pretty uneventful until London Open, and then we'll probably see this level met and initially rejected, and we'll pull back and retrace, and then eventually I think probably around New York session in the morning we can break above this level and then work our way up. The thing is with obviously gold has to cool off at some point, which we have been doing. But we have to remember overall, I think I said this in a previous video, with the rates getting cut 50 basis points, and they'll probably be cut again pretty soon. Um, this is setting us up for a inflationary economy, high inflation economy, and at least with the way that we're going right now. And so typically what happens, when you have high inflation is what goes up, precious metals. So gold, silver, haven't really been focusing on silver too much recently. I think the price action here on gold gave us a better opportunity. But I am going to be hoping to get in some silver long positions, swing positions in the near future. Um, but we have to remember after a massive move, yeah, we're going to cool off, but at some point that's going to end and we're going to restart this massive move to the upside. Now maybe that doesn't happen here. Maybe we just come back up a little bit higher and then stick within this range. That's fine. I just want to get be exposed to this, right? I want to be involved in this. So anyway, little update. I hope that all makes sense. It's fairly simple, right? Fairly simple price action. daily chart looks fine. Not the best, but um, yeah, hopefully, we haven't had any bottom wicks on these candles. Sometimes I like to see that before I really get involved in a long position, right? But anyway, overall, really good position. Two nice trades right now. All right, guys, a little update here on gold. Gold has been looking really great. We've moved up really nicely. I was a little bit not really worried, but I was really watching this level, right, to see if we were gonna really wick and reject this. But thankfully, we did not. We had a nice close after this candle close. I was pretty confident that we are just gonna keep pushing up, right? And so obviously, we're making a bit of a little pullback into this level back as support, which is nice. Now it is 2 o'clock on a Friday, so this is pretty much like gonna go in through the weekend. I'm fine with where we are now. Obviously here we could probably move stops to break even. I think we have enough distance right between us and our position, open position. But yeah, I'm fairly confident going into this weekend holding this trade. I'm not too worried about this. Um, and yeah, I think we're gonna be pretty good here. Let's go to 4 hour. Yeah, this is what I wanted to see. So the 4 hour candle here on we're on Oanda has closed nicely above the zone, and we are now pulling back on the new one. So I think the only thing that would make me reconsider keeping this position open was if Sunday afternoon or early Monday morning, right, Sunday night, um, we get a sharp push underneath this zone, and anything underneath here, I would close at a small profit because then that would sort of um, verify that we are still within, more or less within this consolidation, right? I'm being optimistic, right? Expecting us to reach this high next week. Crypto has really improved just today. We've had a nice day today. The markets have been pretty good today, and so I think going into next week we're going to have some really good price action. And so, anyway, but like I said, I'm going to be very careful holding this. I'm going to be watching this really a lot Sunday as the new weekly candle opens. Let's actually take a look, or let's take a look at this weekly candle. So yeah, that's pretty insane, right? We're talking about consolidation and having pullbacks after a large move. Now this is reminding me of where we were back here, and so we know that gold's going to cool off, right? But we're just looking for an area to go long after where we believe the cool off is done, right? A lot of people always just think, no, we're going to come back to this recent structure, but you know, I like to focus on, like I said, I explained this before, but this zone was not the reason why I mark most zones, even if they're not really important zones, is because some zones where they don't seem that big, there's not that many touches within them, not that many times of the market respecting them. Those eventually become big zones over time, right? And so, we had one nice retest, come down again, really retest this again, right? Come back again a third time, nice bullish candle, push to the upside, pull back, great place to get in. That's we can't be certain, right? But that is a very, very high probability that we would be correct. And so thankfully that's how this has gone. So anyway, like I say, I was trying, we just wanted to catch this move, which we have caught the move. Now we just have to manage it properly. So like I said, I'm going to keep this on a fairly short leash going into the weekend. I'm going to wait to see how we close today. But when the market opens on the weekend, I'm going to, like I said, keep this thing on a short leash. I don't want to, you know, anything underneath here, I am going to close. So anyway, all right, guys, a little update on the gold trade. So it's been a while. We had some sideways price action here as we pushed up into this nice zone up here, very strong zone. What really is the key area here was our current open candle really pushing very high above this level for a little bit here. If we really zoom in, if we really zoom in here, we're showing little minor rejections of this level, or at least, resistance to this resistance. And we finally got this nice push above. Obviously, I want us to close like this, but then what's great about that is we can expect, us to pull back into this zone, right? This big key level as support, and then work our way to the upside. So, I don't know if I mentioned this previously. It's been a few days, but depending on how this, how this progresses here, I think we can maybe extend our targets higher. I think this might be one of those times where that's appropriate to do that. And yeah, overall, pretty nice setup now. I think safe, we can safely have stops underneath this low down here, right? We have these two lows. Now, obviously, this low is a little bit higher than this one, so I think having stops underneath here is a great place. Um, and yeah, overall, a decent position. Now, you can get caught up a little bit in getting freaked out with this zone, right? And so, I was a little bit when we broke down and came back up here. It looked, a little bearish, but we have to keep in mind, the higher time frame play that we're looking at. Unless we really, really, really have a large move like something like this, and I'm clearly wrong, right? Then we sort of back off and reset. But we have to remember, like when I talked about our reasons for getting in this position, right? Our entry, we had a massive swing from the high to the low down here, and then obviously, we had a nice rejection of this little support. Um, we have to keep in mind like why we got in the position, right? We're not in a, if gold wasn't in such a strong uptrend, then maybe I think about it differently, right? But we have to remember we're in a very strong uptrend, and so once we get in a nice position, right? As long as we can, like if this would really reverse, we could secure, a small profit if we started to really come down or at least break even at the worst case scenario. We have like very limited risk, essentially no risk at this point at least, and very essentially unlimited upside potential. And so there's no reason to get that upset about a little, move on an hourly chart, right? We have to look at the bigger picture. If we go to a daily chart, obviously here, depending on what you use, we're on Oanda, at least just on TradingView. I don't use Oanda to trade, but we're looking at Oanda now. Sometimes you have some gaps here. But really, what do we have, right? We had a nice bullish close here on Friday. Yeah, we had a bit of a pullback on Monday, but now our candle is, made a bottom wick, and we're moving up very nicely above this key level. This is really our key level for this range, top to bottom. And so I think we can close. If we have a nice bearish close today, and it's not at our target yet, I think we can, like I said, expect a bottom wick probably on the new daily candle, probably into the zone to continue to push up. And so that bottom wick, like I showed earlier, right, because this is a really important zone for us, that bottom wick would, on an hourly chart, let's say we close somewhere up here, that would look something like this, right? And then we'd move higher. So anyway, that's what I'm looking for. And if that happens, we could probably actually get another entry, something that could maybe be, a position that we don't hold as long and close sooner. And that way we can keep this one open, that sort of thing. But anyway, overall, really good position. The key thing to pay attention to in these kinds of positions is the uh, price action, right? At a high volume time of the day, right? Like this candle, this is about less than an hour after the market opens, so still high volume time of the day. How the price action is into these zones that we've had marked for a while, right? We showed some initial signs of slight rejection of the level, and we have now broken through. And so if we would have kept closing below here and sort of started to, roll over, we'd probably tighten up our stops and be okay getting out early with a smaller profit. But, really, when we have a nice entry like this, we want to really try to conserve it. Like I said, and, worst case scenario, we get out with a small profit. So anyway, I think this is going to be a good position. And yeah, it's been a few days, but yeah, hopefully this plays out nicely. All right, guys, a little update on gold. The market is opening in 1 minute. We reached our target, right? So that's great. So actually, I have closed only half of the position. Now the rest we are going to keep open with no actual, fixed take profit. With stops underneath here, right? We're not necessarily targeting a certain level. We're just waiting. Maybe we pull back a bit, but we're looking to see this just move a little bit higher, right? For the rest of our profit. So we secured a great profit from our entry to our exit, uh, remaining open, stops underneath this structure down here. Great area, about 2636, give or take area. And yeah, we reached our target nicely, just targeting pretty much all-time highs up here. And with the remaining part of the position, we're just going to let this thing go, right? See how much higher we go. If we come down and get stopped in profit, that's fine. We still secured a good bit. And yeah, this is kind of how I like to manage gold trades, especially if it's a long position. We got a nice trade. We secure some profit, and then the rest stops are now in profit, and we just sort of let the thing go and do what it does. Right? It's always, worst case scenario, we just make a little bit less, but best case scenario, we keep increasing our profit. So um, maybe we can do a little update or a little overview of the position later again. But yeah, overall, just a really good position. I'm really happy with this.